The SG-12 from Gaerne and the Instinct from Fox Racing. Both of these are premium boots worn by a lot of the best racers in the world. And if you're shopping for a premium boot, chances are these are both on your radar. The question you're probably asking yourself is which one is best for you. All right, everybody, so if you're shopping for a premium boot, there's a lot of great options out there, but chances are you have the Gaerne SG-12 or the Fox Instinct on your radar. So today in this video, I just want to do a versus. I've spent a lot of time in each one of these boots, so I just want to go through it, and I'm not just going to spill out all the bullet points that each one of these has. Instead, I just want to give you my personal feedback and my experience that I've had with each of these after spending a lot of time in them. So if these are two boots that you're considering, I really hope this will give you some really good feedback just to help you make that decision of which one you feel is going to be best for you. So before we start talking about it, let's talk about just the companies real quick. So you've got Gaerne, which is an Italian company. They've been making boots for a very long time. Something I really like about Gaerne is that all their boots are manufactured right out of their very own plant out of Italy. And then you have the Fox Instinct. So Fox Racing, these guys are based out of Irvine, California. Their boots I know are made overseas. But what I love about the Instinct is that Ricky Carmichael, who they call the GOAT, he actually helped develop and make the Instinct. So when you've got Ricky Carmichael helping you to make a boot, you're gonna have a really good final product. And the truth is with both of these, you can't go wrong with either one. But there are some features about each that I like more than the other, and that's what I wanna help point out today, just to give you a good comparison. So first thing let's talk about is fitment. So with fit, that's going to be crucial with any boot. Now remember, at Rocky Mountain, we have our fit guarantee. So if you ever get a boot, if you're not happy with the size or fit, you can send it back in brand new unused condition, and we'll give you free shipping both ways on your first exchange just to make sure you get that size and fit that you're looking for. But both these, for me, they fit true to size. Lengthwise, they're both going to be fine. What I do notice is that the SG-12 does have a little bit wider toe box. So for me, if you had a wider foot and you're worried about a boot being too narrow, I'd probably steer you more towards the SG-12 just for that reason. Also, what's nice is that the SG-12 actually has an adjustable shin plate so you can make it bigger. So that's gonna be nice for those riders that really have those really big calves. But like I said, lengthwise, they're both gonna be great. Now, one thing that I really like about the Instinct is when you put this boot on, you have little to zero heel float. If you're not sure what heel float means, well, it's either when you're riding or even just walking in a boot. If you feel like your heel is kind of lifting up off the sole, that's heel float. So the Instinct, in my opinion, really does a good job of just sucking the ankle down and making sure that it stays secure and it doesn't move while you're walking or when you're riding. Now, one thing that I've noticed with the Instinct when it comes to the fit is I've had multiple pairs of these. And sometimes I get a pair that fits super comfortable. I can wear them all day, no issues. But I have had a pair from time to time where I get a little pinch point on the outside of my foot. And I think the reason for that is I've never experienced that with the SG-12s. And I think I can credit that towards Gaerne because their boots are made out of their own factory in Italy. I think they just have a little bit better control over the quality, so you don't see some of those variances like I've noticed in the Instinct. But overall, both really comfortable. One thing I do want to point that I like about the SG-12 is that around the ankle area, they actually have a memory foam that you're going to really notice when you put these on. But overall, as far as fit, true to size, both very comfortable boots. So the next category I want to cover is break-in period. So with any boot that you're going to buy, a question that a lot of riders ask is, well, how long is that boot going to take to break in? Does it have a lot of flex right out of the box? So let's talk about it. Now with the Fox Instinct, this boot, in my opinion, and I've ridden in a lot of different boots, I don't care which one you compare it to, is going to have some of the best flexibility right out of the box. Little to zero break-in time with the Instinct. That's something that Fox really prides themselves on with this boot. So to give you an example, I can take a pair of these brand new, I can put them on and go ride on the track, and literally on the first lap, I feel like I've had the boot on and it's already broken. So if you're looking for a boot that's not gonna have a lot of break-in time, then I'd say the Instinct's gonna be your best option. Now when you get to the SG-12, SG-12 is gonna take more time to break in, so you're gonna have to be a little bit more patient with this boot. I would say, for me, probably about 5 or 6 rides in is when I started to feel like it had good flexibility that I would want out of a boot. But you got to remember, each of these is going to break in. The SG-12 is going to take a little bit more time. But once the SG-12 breaks in, it gives you plenty of flex while still offering good support. But like I mentioned, if you want a boot that's going to have little to zero break-in time, that right out of the box is going to have really good feel and flex, then the Instinct is going to be the best route. Next up, let's talk about buckles. So I'll start out with the SG-12. Now, I don't care what boot you compare this to. In my opinion, the SG-12 just has the best buckles there are. They're very simple to use, so I'll just demonstrate how one of these works. So you've got your strap, your buckles are replaceable, as are the straps, but you just take your strap, slide it over there, and then it just snaps down. So very easy to operate. It's very easy on the hands. But what I love about these buckles is that no matter how dirty I get them, no matter how much dirt is packed in there, they never don't work. They're always easy to use. Sometimes with certain buckles, if you get too much dirt in there, they get kind of gunked up. It's really hard to snap those buckles down. With the Gaerne, I've never had that problem. So hands down, my favorite buckle design of any boot. Now when you get to the Instinct, this is kind of one of the shortcomings I think that the Instinct has. The buckles work well, so I'll show you how one of these works, more of a ball and socket design. So again, like with the SG-12, they're both going to be replaceable, the strap and the buckle. Take your strap, just set it in there, and then it's just going to snap down. Here's a couple of my nitpicks that I don't like about the buckles on the Instinct. So the first thing you'll notice is that the actual buckle itself, it's kind of short, and to get your thumb or your finger underneath there, it takes a little bit more work. And you notice that these buckles, well, they're pretty short and they're sharp. So when you have that down, especially if you have a little bit of dirt or gunk built up inside there, I've actually had times where it kind of hurts my finger because I have to use too much force to try and pop those up. And the same goes for when I want to snap the buckle down. With the Instincts, what I've noticed is that when these buckles get a lot of dirt or they're gunked up, they can be a little bit hard to get these to snap down. In fact, I've actually had a couple times where I took either some SCU1 or even some WD-40 and I've sprayed some in there just to lubricate those, just to help them work a little bit better. So when it comes to buckle design, I gotta give the thumbs up to the Gaerne. So now let's talk about sole design. So you can see with these boots flat on the table, very different in the way their soles are constructed. And this is gonna be a big deciding factor if you're deciding between these two boots. So let's talk about them. So with the SG-12, you've got a traditional stitched on sole. Both the soles on these are gonna be replaceable. But then with the Instinct, you have a bonded sole, and they use a material called the Duratac. So you've got a multi-compound sole on the SG-12. But with the SG-12, here's something that I felt and I noticed right away when I first put these on. The SG-12 sole is definitely going to be stiffer. So for me, when I ride in the Gaerne, I don't have as much feel on the foot pegs. In other words, it takes a little bit of getting used to, a little bit of muscle memory to know exactly where your feet are on the foot pegs, because this sole just doesn't offer as much feel and because you have that stiffer design. So that's something that took me a little bit getting used to. Stiffer sole, not as much feel on the foot pegs. Now when you get to the Instinct, couple things that I really like about this sole and their chassis. One, they use this Duratac material, which Fox uses on their boots. Super grippy. So if I had to give the nod to the boot with the most grip, I would go with the Instinct. The other fact that I really like about the Instinct is the amount of foot peg feel. If you're a rider where you're standing on the bike and you like to know exactly where your feet are and you like to be able to really feel that brake pedal or that shift lever, Instinct's going to be the best route. And that goes, honestly, I would take the Instinct and compare it to any other boot and say it's going to hold its weight when it comes to that category, because for me, they just offer really good feedback. And that goes back to what I mentioned earlier about that break-in time. When I put these on, I can go right away and I know right where my controls are. Very simple. With the SG-12, it's going to take a little bit more getting used to. And also something I do want to point out when it comes to that feel on the controls. So at the top here, and we're going to talk about construction a little bit, but when you look at the top of the toe box, the SG-12, you can see when I press down on that, I have no give there. So they use a really hard plastic over top the toe box, where with the Instinct, you can see I can actually press down and indent that pretty easily. And that's where a lot of that feel is coming from when you're using the brake pedal, especially the shift lever, because you're pushing up on the shift lever at the top of the toe box. So with the SG-12, it just took me a little bit more time to get used to that, of figuring out where my toe was. And I'll admit that when I first started riding in it, I was hitting the brake pedal a lot in corners because I thought my toe was farther back on the foot peg than it really was. And it took me a little bit of getting used to get that muscle memory to get the toe of the boot underneath the brake pedal, or excuse me, the shift lever, and pop that up. So that's something that I would just keep in mind when it comes to foot peg feel and just shifting and brake pedal controls in general. I would say the Instinct is definitely going to have that handled. So the last category I want to cover is construction and durability. Obviously, that's probably one of the biggest deciding points. When you're buying a premium boot, you're going to be spending almost $500 on each of these. So you need these things to last. And when I started wearing these, I started wearing a pair of brand new Instincts and SG-12s about the same time. I have over a year of riding on each one of those. So I've got plenty of time to kind of give you my thoughts and feedback as far as what I've seen when it comes to durability. But first, let's talk about construction real quick. So at the SG-12, they're going to use full grain leather for the base, and you've already seen they've got that hard plastic over the toe box. Both these boots offer really good impact protection. With the Instinct, they actually use a microfiber material, which is a synthetic leather. It's a super high quality material, but microfiber is going to help keep the boot more lightweight. In fact, I've weighed these, and it's a pretty big difference in the weight. They're both size 10 on the table. The Instinct, 3.9 pounds. The SG-12, 4.6. And that is something that translates to when you're wearing the boot. When I put these on back to back, some boots the weight really doesn't matter. You don't feel like it's any heavier, but there is a difference to me when I put on the Instinct. It does feel lighter than the SG-12. But now let's talk about that durability factor. So both the materials, all the materials that Fox and Gaerne are using, I think they last really good. I haven't had any issues as far as the boots tearing. I haven't had any buckles break, anything of that nature. The soles both hold up well. And a disclaimer, I'm not hard on soles. Both these I've had for over a year. Soles are actually still in great shape. I've never actually even replaced a sole on a boot. I know some riders that'll go through a sole in like 6 months. I don't know how they do it, but I've never been hard on soles. So for me, I have to say the durability on both is going to be just fine. But here's where I can show you the difference. So every boot that you're going to get, when you get it right out of the box, it's going to have that good supportive feel, and that's what you want. But over time, every boot's going to break in, and some of that supportive feel, it's going to go away a little bit. And that's just totally normal. That's just what happens with any boot. But what I've noticed is that the SG-12, that support that you feel when you first get it brand new, I feel like it lasts longer than with the Instinct. Now, because the Instinct just has so much flex right out of the box at little to zero break-in time, in my opinion, when you do that with the boot, you're going to sacrifice a little bit of that long-term supportive feel, or the boot's going to break down a little bit faster. So with the SG-12, if I had to pick between these two as far as which one's going to offer a little bit more support longer, I'd go with the SG-12. All right, everyone, so that concludes my versus of the SG-12 from Gaerne and the Instinct from Fox Racing. Now, like I mentioned earlier, these are both awesome boots. I honestly don't think you can go wrong with either one. Today, I just want to share with you my thoughts, my opinions on what I think the pros and cons are of each one. If you have any questions or comments about any of these, leave those comments and questions below. We'll get your questions answered. If you own a pair, let us know which one you have, what you like about it, maybe what you don't like about it, and that's going to help other riders out. Now, if you're interested in one of these and you want to learn more about these, I have product spotlights where I talk about them in full detail, so watch those videos to learn a little bit more. But to pick yours up, it is real simple. Just click on the link or head over to RockyMountainATVMC.com. Don't forget, orders over $75 ship free. If you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up, get subscribed to our YouTube channel, that way you do not miss out. And if you want to see more versus, we would love to hear what you want to see compared on this table. I'm Chase at Rocky Mountain. We'll see you on the trails.